and you have to keep on frequently walking. So this has basically got this that I have done over here is that there is a differentiality in the wheel that is being used. It has got 4 wheels, out of which the 2 wheels are being aligned on diagonals and the other 2 are aligned on the other diagonals to balance the center of gravity. What happens that whenever we start from the center active gravity has always to be balanced on one of the wheel. So whenever we are any dynamics of the wheel turning, it is basically getting balanced out of it. This basically covers up 2 features. One is the environmental features because it is battery operated, and second it is also solar power. The solar power you can actually go on up to around 15 to 20 kilometers a day on. And second is the medicinal factor that it adds. It is basically cell battery, particularly be very much used by the geriatric population. I was invited as a speaker in a Euro India Summit in Belgium. Now coming into the feature where it has been featured up till now. It started off with the entrepreneur magazine, following which I was basically covered in a Auto Expo, and then subsequently I was appointed the CIA Innovation Award. Then I was nominated as the International Climate Champion by the British Council. I'll just show what this vehicle is. Short video of it. Using it near to my house. Over here you can see that this is something wherever at the places with the need of walking over there you can use, like particularly in apartments also where you go to buy vegetables, and like particularly the ladies are go to buy vegetables and fruits. They can't actually even ride on a car, like they can't drive in a car. You can actually drive, but like my mother particularly, she can't ride in a car. So like for such ladies particularly, they can actually use, like what happens, there is an estimate from the EPA. What they have suggested that out of 900 daily car trips, there are around 450 million trips which are actually less than 5 years long, and they are mainly single passenger per vehicle trip. So over all those places, if it is being replaced by a normal petrol car, it can save as much as around 80% of the carbon that is emitted by a petrol car. So if we keep on estimating, if we estimate how much economy it is saved, how much carbon it is saved, it is much more economical, and further it is adding the value of a medical benefit also. It's like my mom is basically riding on this vehicle. So any geriatric or any old people can actually ride on this. This was basically a clip of the Lok Sabha TV interview. Can you just connect it back? And believe in a belief. Normally what happens in a day-to-day life, whenever we start making out anything or we have a notion of doing anything, we come with 2 interferences. One is the interference that comes from the outside people. People say that are you mad or what? It is impossible. You can't do this thing, or you can't. You are just another geek who is just trying to make out things, but it won't work out. Second is the fear that comes from you inside, that you are a professional into a field, or can you actually work out? It is basically the fear that you actually curb. The arguments that you counter is how you actually move on to making the vehicle. I will back to the time when I actually started making on this vehicle. There was the inspiration of making this vehicle, to be very true. The only theme was basically the motivation, you can say, that helped me to make this vehicle. The main theme was to basically pursue, to try out an application for a master's degree. I know that it actually helped me out. It will help me in making a profile. But the thing was that the another thing that actually helped me out making this vehicle was that I didn't have a mechanical background. I was from electrical engineering, so that was the main reason why I managed to make this vehicle. Because I was ignorant, I didn't know what the basic mechanical engineering was. Had I been into very much of the precision, I would have been another negative maverick who would have been saying that this is something impossible. There was another main reason why I made this was our campus was 150 acres long. I was from Delhi College of Engineering. So we have got to walk around 10 to 15 minutes daily on to go to a class. My brother was also in the same college, but he used to come by the car, and because he was a senior to me, obviously I can't take the luxury of having a car ride, because I have to start coming at the college at the very same time. I didn't have the power to bunk the very first class and then come out late coming in the car. So that was another thing, and the fourth was obviously sort of to impress a girl or something. So I am not very sure if I have managed or basically the route, it is one thing that yes, I managed to make this vehicle, but the inception, that main inception was three to four things which actually helped me out. One was the belief that my dad usually used to say impossible is nothing. Second was that when there were two classes that actually shaped my inner strength, you can say. That one was when I was in third and one when I was in eighth. We didn't used to have our science classes up to second, but my brother, I was the youngest in my family. But my brother and sister used to have those science classes, so there was a lot of hype about the science classes that go, science is something, science is something. So the moment I had a science in third, and it was somewhere around the second term that it was introduced. So obviously there was a sort of an insight as to what actually science is. So that was the main thing. Had I been studying the science from the very first standard or something, I guess that I wouldn't have got a chance to basically get an interest developed in the science. The second was one of the speech competition that I was basically going into. It was a speech competition in a Rajneesh mission ashram. I was basically sent in a speech competition. Usually at that time there was a good tradition of a photocopy machine. So we used to have a machine, and there were around 3 to 4 students who were selected to just wrote that speech. So I was writing that speech. That was a Hindi speech competition. There was a line over there. It was written. It was a speech from Swami Vivekananda. There was a line, "Agar tum gaay soge, to tum gaay ban jaoge." I was thinking that what this line is, how can a person become a guy? How can he actually shift from when he human, he can become a guy? Anyways, I narrated the entire thing. I wrote it down and then I went to the stage and just narrated it. Yes, agar tum gaay sochoge, to tum gaay ho jaoge. Then the panelists and the judge panel said, "You have missed out one thing. You have missed out one line." There was a line that I missed out after the speech. That was, "Tum jo sochoge, tum wahi hoge." That was a line from Swami Vivekananda, and because I was in third, so it was a very curious line. Okay, let's try it out. It was I have never been into the first, second, or the third rank. I have always had a craze to get into those first, second, third, but somehow I was always far from that pole position, you can say. So the final time I was just trying to narrate and just feeling it, first, second, third, first, second, third, first, second, third, and God, I will just say it was a fortune for me. I actually came third. So it was one thing which was incepted in my route at that time. It say that it was a child pride, but it actually became a thing that whatever you will think, you will become. The second was when I was in 8th. I was transferred in 8th. So obviously whenever a person is transferred, usually 15 days of the classes have been, you missed out those classes. Now normally what happened was that when I was on those classes, I had the very first periodic. I haven't failed up till 7th or something. I failed for the first time in English examination. That was really a shocker for me. It was like, how could I fail? I've been a star performer at my previous school and now I've failed. So that just gave me such a big hit that in the very same examination, I was a topper in the English examination. And the second highest was somewhere around 20 marks away from me. So that was a kick after which I say that yes, the things started moving on. Now when I came to the college, this was the second project, I would say. The main project that I started working on was on the permanent magnetic motor. I made one magnetic motor which will just boost the perpetuity of the permanent magnets. That was the main time when I actually started getting the comments that how can you actually do such thing? It is something which is seriously impossible. But you have to counter those things. You started countering all those things. Now, then I started working on a solar car. What actually happened after the solar car? During the making of the solar car, I was very much into the making of it. But incidentally, around 10 to 15 days back, there was some conflict or something. I just left the team. And after that, there were a lot of news media that was coming that yes, solar car, this is the first solar car of the India. I was actually on a negative side. I was actually on a bad side, just like, look, I worked on so much, and yet I didn't receive anything. So it was a time where I could have actually felt, no, it was not I could have, I actually felt, what did I actually learn? What did I actually gain out of it so much? I had to move in all the way from the North Delhi to Faridabad, walking daily, going on a local train or something. There was a time in the fourth when I had to make this vehicle in 20 to 25 days, because if I would have made that, I would have actually missed out on a point on making that vehicle. It was the knowledge that I received at that time that actually helped me in making that vehicle. So I realized that whatever you perceive on, you never actually lose that thing. It is something which is always going to give you rewards in the future. But this is another book that I'm reading right now. This is out here from Gladwell. It is basically the main theme is that why do some people achieve so much more than others? Can they lie so far outside the ordinary? The main theme that I actually read in this book was he stressed on 10,000 hours of work. It is a book which actually covers the excerpts of the Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. The main theme that he found was that these people were fortunate, or somehow the event surmounted in such a way that these people find a way to devote 10,000 hours of their work into those programming, into those ice hockey, or whatever field a professional in it. My suggestion to all of you is like, I can only suggest, I have yet to cover those 10,000 hours to reach what I want to, is that start thinking what your dream is, and for that you have to venture out in 4 years. Like normally what happens is that whenever you enter a college, the very first year you spend out in attending the fest, and those you start going from one college to the another, to the PC, to IIT, or to whatever college places when you organize, and just started working on to get those certificates, to start working for certificates, and you spend the entire second year just for attending the event and those. In third year became some president of some society and all. Fourth year you waste out your time just playing the class in the hostel. So the thing is that the basic thing that what I feel is to be in this 4 year are the years which are the years of your experimentation. You can expand yourself to all the horizons that you want to. You can expand whatever you want to. The thing, I was also into those, should I go for MBA, should I go for MS, or should I go for IS, or whatever like that. Then my brother told me one thing, do just what you want to do. If you want, अगर तुम तबला जाना चाहते हो तो तुम तबला ही बजाओ. अगर तुम रिसर्च में जाना चाहते हो तो तुम रिसर्च में जाओ. But before that you have to find what your heart wants, and then whatever heart signals, just keep on and believe in yourself. Steve Jobs said to believe in that self, but I will just say another thing, that you believe in what you believe. That's all.